What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we have a very special treat. I have my buddy Jake here from Locals. He has been terrorizing us for weeks now with PBD, so it's an extremely, I don't even know what to call it, odd or aggressive build. I think it's one of the craziest builds I've seen in Vanguard in general, not just the format, so very happy to be with the Mad Lad today. So
thank you.
General thoughts on the deck before we start?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of different ways to building this. Some people go the grade 3 route with Alden and or Flukes, and they just basically make it Bastion minus Bastion. But I didn't really want to do that. I think that the deck's power lies in its Blaster Dark turn, relying on that Twin Drive early, just to push for early aggression that can't be stopped by the main decks in the meta. Like Bruce and Bastion, they just cannot keep up with this.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so without further ado, let's hop right into the deck and we'll hear the list.
And of course, you have to start it off with the ride line. Now, you don't have to play full bow. You can play whatever flavor you want, but I just think it looks nice because of all the encounter cards. Then we go over to Blaster Javelin, whose main skill is just getting us the fodder for Blaster Dark skill. Speaking of which, it's Counterblast 1, retire one of your rear guards, retire an opponent's, and gain drive +1. Now this is really important for the deck. It's just that big tempo swing on turn 2. It just outpaces everything else in the format. It's just really dangerous if you don't plan for it correctly. If your opponent doesn't, that is. And of course, we have the Peanut Butter Dragon himself. When it placed on Vanguard Circle, it calls a Blaster from Soul. Now you can either choose Blaster Javelin or Blaster Dark. Now, what you want to do with that is dependent on the situation, of course, but that's what it does. Its other skill reads, Counterblast 1, retire 3 rear guards, retire 2 of your opponent's rear guards, plus 10k, plus crit, until end of turn. Now that is really big, especially going first. Just most decks can't. It just rips so much guard out of their hands right from the get-go. So that's going to be the ride deck. The cards you're going to see every game, no matter what.
Does it have all the cards?
It's the grade 1 lineup. Now here's the first part of why I think this deck would be called, makes me a bit of a mad lad. 2 PGs. Now originally I ran 0, and the deck did fine, but I found out that getting to the first Persona Ride turn is actually very important. So you just need to see one of these to help you get to there. If you don't win by that time, the deck kind of fizzles off a little, so that's why you only run 2. You need more pieces for the engine just to make the deck as fast as possible. Another 2-up for grade 1s is the 10k booster. This is very important just to make numbers bigger, especially your Vanguard. So you can make that a 33 on non-Persona Ride and 43. And if you've been ripping cards out of your opponent's hand by attacking early, it basically becomes PG or GG. So just put that back over there, move these guys to the side. Now these are better than the 10k boosters, that's why you play 3. They're 10k boosters and 10k attackers. So basically you just want them. They're good cards to just attack with, and then you can sack them off for PBD in the back row. They're really good card. You want to see them a lot, especially early. Now here we have 2 Brana. I just noticed that she was clunking up my hand a lot. Her skill is very important for PBD since she counts as 2. But other than that, in the early game, which is where this deck excels, she is low power and low reward because she's only a 5k body. It's only bumping up a one card guard. So that's why we only run 2. You'll see plenty of it through other skills though. Speaking of cards that'll help you see it, we run 4 copies of Karen.
I think I already had like 5 years anyway.
And this is where the deck starts going in its own direction. Most people see this card as a just call 1 to get 2 materials to sack for PBD. But a key wording in the parentheses of this card, when you look at the top card of your deck to call, you can leave it there. So say you see your over trigger on top deck, you can leave it there. And I think that's just really handy. Over triggers, crits, fronts, whatever you need in that specific situation. It's really nice. Now here's where I've seen I haven't personally seen anyone run this, but I really like it in this deck. It is the, I'd call it more of a Hex Orb card for Soul Blast 1 Arrest. Rearrange top 2 cards deck, 1 top, 1 bottom. Helps you just trigger sack more consistently.
Yeah, I feel like this is like really a card that puts you over the edge, just like in a couple of our matches especially.
Just from turn 2 onwards, this is live. Because your Twin Drive turn 2, it is insane. It just really helps. And even if you see duds, the pressure that knowing that you stacked your deck makes your opponent guard most of the time.
Like
So
mental psych out, yeah.
no matter what you hit, it is a good card. Plus, once it's rest, you can sack it off a PBD and just get more value out of it.
Doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah. Next up, we got the grade 2s. We have 6 of them. We're running 3 Maka. Now, Maka is a 15k attacker the turn she's placed, which is really helpful in the prison matchup, calling her back. And the deck is short on Soul Blast, so you don't really want to activate her skill too much because you need it more for this card. But in a pinch, it is useful to get to your Brana and your other pieces just to make bigger numbers. Now, her skill is Soul Blast 1, retire. Check top 5 for a grade 1 or less card, Spirit Call. And I think that's really neat. It just gives you that extra edge of fixing your hand. Say you have too many grade 3 cards in hand, you can turn one of them into a booster. Next up, we got 3 Lesser Dark. Now, it's really important that you see at least one of these by your grade 3 turn to make a front row, because these become 15k attackers every turn that you retire something, and through its own skill, Makas and PBD, that's basically going to be every turn. Now, you can force this by overcalling if you don't have any of these skills at your disposal, so that's another route. But yeah, it is really
I never
important.
thought of that, actually.
It's really important to see those.
Okay.
Because you need a big secondary attacker other than Vanguard. So those are the 6 grade 3s. And of course, we're running 3 Persona rides. Now, funnily enough, I used to play 2. Not only because I only had 2, but just most games end before you get here. Either here or the next turn, which you see it often enough that you don't need to see more than 1 per game, really. But 3 really adds consistency, and I really like it. Now here's one of my favorite cards in the deck. It is the other grade 3. It's your main discard fodder if you draw into it for the ride deck. It is 3 copies of Heavenly Staff of Kind Intention Cortez. What Cortez says is...
Oh, wow, so you run it.
Yeah, it is very important. When you drive check it, you call it to rear guard circle and it gets boost. It's a 13k attacker or booster. And it is very nice since you're twin driving from turn 2, so the skill, you're very likely to hit her at least once per game.
Sure, that's very true.
So it's like playing 20 triggers, in a way. It's actually better than trigger in some cases, for the numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that card. It's very important if you want to play this style of the deck. Maybe not so much in other builds. Now here's the part that makes it all work, the trigger lineup. First we got the different fronts that we're playing. We're playing 2 of the trial deck one. 4 of the 20k shield, of course. It's very useful. Just getting to your Persona Ride turn and your grade 3 turn. And we're also playing 1 of these, the booster set front. Now you can replace that with another one of the trial. That guy doesn't have any more on hand, but you're just running 7 front. And next for crits, you're running 1, 2, 3, 4 from the booster set. And then you're also running 1, 2, 3, 4 from the trial deck. So you're running 8 crit, 7 front, and 1 over. This is the most aggressive trigger lineup.
Heals.
No heals. Now, the logic behind this is that since you're pushing so hard with these critical triggers, from Blaster Dark turn, from huge turn 1 rushes with 3 grade 1 front rows, with pushing with crits on your grade 3 Vanguard, you are going to be, except for when you're at 5 damage, never healing off of heal triggers if you hit them. Maybe the other matchup you can hit it is against Fluffies, but it's not common enough for me to see it that I want to steer away from it. But it is very nice just to hit crit on turn 2. It is just...
That's true. It
is-
puts them in such a bad situation.
Yeah, it is just so aggressive. The more drive check, since you have more drive checks, you want to see more crits. Crits early game are powerful.
And I feel like in the beginning I kind of criticized this a lot. I was like, oh, no heals, that's absolutely insane. Why would you do that? But, you know, after playing this multiple times, like, this deck really just has like an inherent pressure. And kind of like you said, you know, if you make it to that second grade 3 turn, it's not very typical. Like, your first Persona Ride turn is where you really have to win. So the deck's not too great otherwise. So I really, you know, this is a tough build to swallow in a lot of ways, but I would suggest try it before you knock it. So I've played against it multiple times, and definitely is better than, I think, like a standard build.
Thank you.
So Cool, awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. I really appreciate
Of course.
that. Do you have any other closing thoughts, any other tips, tricks, or shout outs maybe?
Neat interactions. Just two I want to go over.
Let's do it.
If you hit Cortez before you hit the second drive check, if you call it to front row, it will get twin drive off the overtrigger.
Sure.
Another card that will get twin drive is if you call your Blaster Dark to rear guard and you activate its seal and you hit the overtrigger, it does have twin drive.
And you could potentially know that because of that grade 1.
Yes, because of your Karens and your deck 1, your grade 1 manipulation. Between these two, if you see your front trigger, don't be afraid to sack off one of your units to get Blaster Dark twin drive.
Awesome. Cool. No, that's really solid. That really is. And you've over-triggered me before, so I definitely know how useful that grade 1 is. For sure. So thank you again. Is there any other closing thoughts?
No, just I want everyone watching this video to have a wonderful rest of their day.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys again. This is Alex and my buddy Jake from Team Generations signing out.
Peace.